A warm welcome to all educators joining us today. On behalf of CENTA, we are delighted to have you with us for another insightful session in our ongoing CENTA webinar series for teachers, a space where passionate educators come together to learn, reflect, and grow professionally. Your presence and participation continue to inspire us as we build a stronger, more empowered teaching community. We are also thrilled to announce that Syntax has been thoughtfully restructured to make the space even more purposeful and structured towards learning, reflection, and growth. We have built our session around themes aligned with CENTA standards that are globally recognized and widely acknowledged. We'll walk you through how today's session matches these specific competencies towards the end of our time together. So do stay with us. Now, coming to today's topic, the golden rule of teaching has always been to lead students from the known to the unknown. But in a world that is changing at a breakneck pace, do we actually know what is known to our students? If we misjudge their baseline, we risk leading them from one confusing unknown to another. Today's session, titled Attempting the Unknown, Bridging the Generational Gap from the Known to the Unknown, is a vital reality check for educators looking to stay relevant, agile, and deeply connected to the generation they teach. This session is designed to sensitize us to the fast evolving world of today's learners, challenging us to look inward and examine our own professional habits. By the end of the session, you will walk away with actionable agility frameworks to decode today's learners and ensure your teaching methodologies remain dynamic and adaptive. And to guide us through this critical conversation, we have a facilitator who perfectly bridges global education standards with real world classroom strategy. It is my pleasure to introduce today's facilitator, Prachi Lahiri. A warm welcome to Centox, Prachi. Prachi Prachi is an expert in international education standard and curricular design. She completed her postgraduate studies in international education from the University of Nottingham and has been an integral part of CENTA ecosystem since 2016. Prachi is also a highly respected voice in educational research. Her study on teachers' experience during the COVID-19 pandemic was notably selected and recognized by UNESCO, demonstrating her subject matter expert on the ground. She was the national subject topper in middle school social studies at the CENTA International Teaching Competition. Currently, she contributes directly to national level education policy as a member of the social science curricular area group under the National Education Policy. Prachi, we truly honored to have you with us today to help us navigate this generational shift. Over to you.
Thank you, Punya. So we will begin our session attempting the unknown. So first, throughout my entire webinar, I will keep giving credit from the sources from which I have learned. And the first half of my webinar is built on this book, Look Again, which says that, okay, we get habituated. There are things that we do on a daily basis, but still there are things that needs to be looked again. And it is written by two famous psychologists, Farrow and Sunstein. So I would like to give them the credit first. Now, the objective of the session is, first, we will analyze what is habituation and what are its consequences. And we will do it through multiple case studies. Then we will challenge our comfort zone. Once we know that there are certain pitfalls of our comfort zone, we will try to redesign our classes through the eyes of the students. So there are two parts to my webinar. The first is to challenge our comfort zone. And we will start, since it is evening 5 o'clock, with tea and samosa. So it looks enticing to most of you, I'm sure. But what if the same thing is served daily to us? Then definitely it will lose its charms. We will say, oh, not again. Why can't we have something else? It's the same thing when we go to the class having the same mindset again and again. And one of the most highly celebrated things of a teacher is her experience. We are all very proud of our years of experience. And it is one of the things that our worth in an institution gets celebrated by. However, the years of experience actually also leads to stagnation sometimes, because there is a nonchalance, there is overconfidence that grows, that I know everything. I know the book, I know the children, I go to the same class, I've been doing that for decades. But there is something that is changing every year. We are growing older and younger children are coming in the class. So there is a generation gap that is taking place. Yes, our years of experience are getting more. We are getting more and more experience, but the children who are coming, the generations are changing. So what is habit and what is habituation? So habit has a certain positive connotation where we actually get into a practice, sometimes deliberately, to make our lives better. And it is difficult to give up. So that is habit. However, habituation is when we get accustomed to something. And there is a psychology behind it, wherein it stops our response to stimulus. Does it happen in our day-to-day life? Yes. There's a good smell that is coming. You enter a room, oh, it's smelling so good, but it loses its charm after half an hour. It happens to bad things as well. If there is a steady noise, a fan is making an irritating noise, we get used to it. Irritants. Most of us have got used to the garbage on the road. It doesn't even bother us nowadays. We just take a detour and go. We've got habituated to it. There's an acceptance to it. And I love Oscar Wilde's this statement. The very essence of romance is uncertainty. When it's the first love, oh, do I look good? As it over a period of time, we get habituated to people also. So habituation is the opposite of amazement. This is one example of habituation. Crows were in the cornfield. Scarecrow was introduced. Obviously, a scarecrow scared the crows away. Prolonged exposure, it didn't scare them at all. Another example. We are going to school, a dog barks at us. We might scream, we might run on the other side. Second day, we will keep an eye on the dog. Third day, how many days can we get late? So habituation is needed for survival's sake. Otherwise, our brain cannot function. We will prioritize, okay, I have to go to school, let the dog bark, but I'll prioritize on what needs to be done. So we focus and we filter out what we don't need. And slowly it becomes, we get habituated. Now, why should we be aware of it? Because many times we start equating one to the other. And many of you have heard about Russian psychologist Ivan Pavlov's conditioning. So first he used to serve his dog food without any stimulus, and the dog would come and have his food. Later, he introduced a bell before offering the food to the dog. So once the dog heard the bell, he would go and have the food. Slowly, the dog equated the bell as the harbinger of food. He would start salivating the moment he heard the bell. So maybe I'm giving this example for you to just think and be aware. Have we gotten such stimulus over a long period of time where we equate one to the other? And you will see what I mean later. And I can give you a small example. Like a silent class is a disciplined class, and that is good. So silence equates good. Noise equates bad. Are we conditioned to such thoughts? So this was just a way to make us aware of our conditioning. Because NEP is changing the way a student is supposed to learn in class. So what do? We need to take regular breaks. So what is this person doing? It's a high jump. He is Fosbury, and he was not an athlete. He was a physics student who had joined university. And when he joined the sports club, he saw people jumping like this. That is the straddle jump. People used to jump like this. However, as a physicist, he realized that this is not the right way, because when you are coming down, your leg is coming down, everything. However, in Fosbury flop, when you are coming down, your knees will be up. So you have a better chance. So he tried something new as an outsider's perspective. And he introduced the Fosbury flip. What do you think was the reaction of the people? Everybody laughed at him. This can't work. And he kept trying until he got the gold medal in Olympics. And now we see only Fosbury flop. So sometimes an outsider's perspective or something new, trying something new, is better than a regular way of taking class. Now, I'm going to tell you another stories. Many of us believe why to learn new things. There are so many. What is the need? So here's a nice story about the elephant and the rope. Once a psychologist, he went to a circus and he saw a huge elephant was tied to a very small stump or a rope. And he asked the circus ringleader that why isn't the elephant just walking out? He can just go to the jungle. The jungle is right a few kilometers away. He can run away. So the circus person said that it's not that he did not try. He was brought as a baby when he was really a young elephant calf. And he was tied to that same pole. He tried and tried and tried, but he could not break away from the rope and that small stump. He gave up. He doesn't even realize now that he has grown so much bigger. So what we have done by just tying him when he was a baby is we have conquered his mind. So most of our limitations exist only in our mind, which as teachers we can challenge. I have heard many teachers say, I don't even understand what they speak these days. Why are they behaving like this? So maybe there are challenges that we are facing and we need to overcome this. And I will tell you why we need to be aware of these risk habituation. This is because, yes, habituation leads to adaptation, which leads to survival. However, it ultimately leads to destruction as well. And I will give you examples. Air pollution. Air pollution keeps increasing slowly, but it is that air pollution itself. Like first maybe our eyes are burning, we are coughing a little, and we get habituated to it. All those symptoms go, but it is later that it becomes a source of disease. Now, what happens when we get used to our potential risks at work life? And I'll give you an example. This has happened to me. Last year, our first term was almost 2 weeks shorter than the previous years. So when I looked at the plan of work, I was fretting, how am I going to finish my portions? And a teacher said, Prachi ma'am, we finish it every year. This year also we will finish it. True. Definitely we will finish it, but at what cost? Either I have to stretch myself in 9 periods. If I take 5 or 6 periods, I have to take 7 or 8 periods. Or I have to let go of few active learning strategies, or I have to reduce something here or there. So there is definitely potential risk, but we get habituated to it. And there is another incident that many of you might have heard, the frog boil and the boiling water. If you drop a frog in boiling water, it will jump out and run away. However, if you keep a frog in a pot of water and slowly increase the heat, it gets used to it. And it does not jump out until it is too late. It dies because it does not realize that the temperature is increasing. And something that we need to think about, it's just like, let's say somebody from city A, which has pure air, has come to city B, which is extremely polluted. And they want to, the first month itself, they develop asthma and they run away. But the millions of people who are living in city B, in that polluted area, for them it has increased slowly. They've got habituated to it. They might complain, but they're not going to go out of it. So there is a trap of habituation, the experience, the day-to-day rut, if we have got used to. So are we like these frogs, or do we expect more? Because we as teachers, when we go, we have to think about ourselves and the children. Do we accept bad health? And we choose to ignore it over physiotherapy or really a diet change. Few of us have developed inhibitions to engage in making financial decisions. Many I've seen are very good with financial decisions, but few I have also seen, no, I'm scared and I will not look into it also. Are these just the boundaries around our mind which we are scared to push? And if we have these fears, what kind of a mindset are we taking to the class then? Are we realizing that the same mindset can be there in the students as well? So, immune to risk in our occupation, as I said, the plan of work, there are sometimes which the semester 1 is short, sometimes semester 2 is short, sometimes there are activities that has to be done. And what happens when we become immune to our risk, occupational risk? So I will tell you a story, a case study. It is about a famous magician. His name was Houdini. I'm sure many of you have heard the name Houdini. So he wanted to display a trick wherein he was handcuffed, buried alive in a coffin, and he unlocks his handcuff and he comes up. However, in his first trial itself, he lost consciousness just when he was near to the ground. Thankfully, his people were still up. They pulled him out. He never tried that magic again. Few years later, another person named Joseph Barras, also known as the Amazing Joe, he said, I will try. And he tried, and he succeeded. First time, he tried with a wooden coffin. He succeeded. Second time, from 4 feet of the depth, he took it to 6 feet. He succeeded. Third time, he said, I will do it in a glass coffin and I will seal it with concrete. He had underestimated his habituation to risk had become so great, he had underestimated the weight of the concrete. When the concrete fell from a higher place, this glass coffin gave in and he was buried alive. So we need to be aware of our pitfalls. Now, what are the dangers of habituation when we are there in the school, in the context of the children? Sometimes we do not reveal our true sentiments, the fear of being left out, targeted, or we are saying something, thinking something that is against the set norms. It can be beneficial for the students, it can be path breaking, it can be something new, but there is no audience. So that time, it can lead to preference falsification, and we do it so that we can mingle with the crowd. Judgment fogging. This I'm talking about the Indian context. We develop favorites in our class who follow the norms and cultural values. Every country has their own norms and cultural values, which are fast changing. Very simple examples how a child looks. Our parents' time, a well-combed, oiled hair was good. We challenged that. We said we will put oil only in the weekends, and then we will let go of that look, and we will have oil-free look. Now, the look that has become is like messy hair or whatever, curly hair. Are we judging the children, developing our favorites just on the cultural values that we had set according to our time? In our times, there was no body shaming. These things did not exist. Now there is. Now the children are living in extremely nuclear societies. Most of their interaction are on through social media. Their reality has changed. So, and if we have changed too, the way we used to clothe in our school times, and now many of us have changed. So when we go to our class, are we aware that we are taking this judgment along with us? So students' values are changing with time. And this is again from that book, we shall remain prisoners of the culture unless we become aware of the process and force ourselves to confront it. So we need to be dishabituation entrepreneur. This is from the book, Look Again. So what do we do? Fight your habituation. As teachers, Rosa Parks is a very famous activist. She questioned why should seats be reserved for whites. One day she was returning from work, she was tired, she was asked to get up from the seats because it was reserved for whites in America before. The civil rights movement, and her denial actually triggered and gave momentum to the civil rights movement. Catherine A. McKinnon, she was a journalist, a legal journalist, before she started writing in newspaper the term harassment of women. And we know what kind of harassment women used to face, was never even given a platform to be addressed. Women had accepted that if we are going out from our homes and we are entering a man's territory, harassment comes naturally. There were no legal or there were no laws to protect them until Catherine A. McKinnon started writing about it from the perspective of the victims. Sometimes we get used to the cruelty also that either we inflict or it is being inflicted on us because we are habituated. So now that we realize that there are pitfalls of being in the system for a long time, how do we challenge it? Is there a way to challenge it? And the answer is definitely yes. So this brings to our second part, redesigning our classes and entering our unknown. So this is an AI generated picture, obviously, where in 6th century BC, when Lord Buddha was there, women did not wear saris like this. So the story goes like this, that a person got flowers for Lord Buddha and he said, drop it. She dropped the flowers. He continued saying, drop it. She was like, what do I drop? I dropped the flower. He again said, drop it. What was Lord Buddha asking her to drop? The answer is the ego that I have bought flowers to Lord Buddha.
The flowers have 22%, to the
Okay.
ground have 4%, and her ego have 74%.
Okay, so most of you are right. We generally go to the class with the ego, I am here to teach. The children are in a place where they have access to internet, they have AI, there are multiple sources of information from which they can learn. So if we are there to teach and we are going with that ego, we need to get their attention. How do we get it? So the whole premise of education is from known to unknown. Here, the writer, the person said is B.K.S. Iyengar, who is a yoga guru, but this is actually taken from our Upanishads, where the guru is trying to show the stars in the sky and he says, can you see the tree? Yes. Can you see the moon on top of the tree? Yes. From the moon, can you see the light? So it goes like that. However, what if that tree is long dead? But in our mind, if we are trailing, there used to be a tree here. So we need to do that check. And I'm going to show you a video how different our perspective is through the two generations. And here, if you see, the millennial is still younger. Many of us as teachers are older than the millennials as well. So you will see that how Gen Alpha perceives things versus how millennials perceives things. You can read the so you see how different the perspective is, and things have changed so fast. So here I am not even talking about the technology or anything. It is just how they think, how the world has changed around them. How many of us know who he is? Punya, can you get a thing? How many of them know who he is? A raise of hand or something like that? Punya, are you there? Okay, so he is Drake. Drake is a rap star. He is the most famous hip hop person right now. He's a Canadian and he is winning the charts after Rihanna. I think Drake is the most popular these days. Now, why should we know about him? We are teachers. It is because the interest of the people. Let's say you have gone, by the way, I'm a social science teacher, so most of the examples that I'm going to give will be from social science. If you're talking about entrepreneurs, you can give the example of Mark Zuckerberg and you can give the example of Drake. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg is another level, but whom do you think will get more interest? If you at least begin the class with Drake and talk about his entrepreneur skill, you will remain relevant to them. You will have them listening to you. Because many times you will see that the students who are listening in the class, sometimes they just zone off. And it is because they are used to screens where the reels are of few seconds and there is music, there is drama, there is something that they are looking forward to. And here you bring them to class where there is a dead book. Maybe you have an IIP, but how much can you get their attention and focus? So you have to keep these things which will bring them back. If you're talking about economics, yes, you do talk about economics, you do talk about entrepreneurs, but you give the examples which are more impactful and which they can connect. So this is their known. Now, year 2026, they are watching these movies during summer vacation. Most of the teachers, the young ones, if they have kids, they might have seen a few. Those whose kids are grown up, they might not even know about these things. So, how many of you know what is gilded blade? For many of us, Harry Potter is still current generation. It is not. Harry Potter was maybe 15 years back, but now no longer, or even 20 years back, it was current. Now it is an epic of a decade and a half year old. So, how do we overcome this? And the easiest way to overcome this is to connect with your colleagues. And this is inspired by Netflix, which is Bookflix, and it has been made by our two very creative librarian teachers in our school, Hema ma'am and Vandana ma'am. And they have made it just like Netflix, recently added, most popular, recommended. And they told me Gilded Blade was a series from Inheritance Games, and that is the latest. So if you really observe, you will see that many of your colleagues bring in many of the new things. Learn. Second, this Gen Alpha slang words. There's a quick poll. How many of us know more than 10 terms, less than 10, and more than 15? There will be a quick poll. Punya, can you help me take the poll?
Yes,
Punya?
ma'am. The poll results are up. How many of these terms do you know? It's like between 5 to 10 have 73%, less than 5 have 23%, and more than 15 have 12%.
Okay, so we see how far removed we are from the Gen Alpha slang. And this also I learned from another colleague of mine. Her name is Miss Archana Shivraj. She actually highlighted to us that in order to connect with them, we need to know their language. And here are some of the top 30 Gen Alpha slang words that are there. You can take a screenshot and just look it up. And actually, it works. I have tried it in class, multiple classes. And so I'm just forwarding to you whatever I have learned from around me. So this is something that you really need to know. Okay, now that you have learned the language, how can you use it? Imagine once or twice you made such class observations. Oh, you slayed that presentation. Your essay, your speech, your rendition was lit. Your handwriting is on fleek. That poem hits different when you are sad. These are some of the terms that are used by Gen Alpha, even Gen Z. Let's say you're teaching literature. Ask them to rewrite in their own language. Success in any field starts with how you carry yourself every day. Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett. You can give now. I'm a history teacher. Uttara Meru inscription is one of the very old Tamil Sangam literature inscription, which actually tells us how people used to vote in the medieval South India. So you can just get a translation, give it that translation in the English, and ask them to rewrite in their own language. And you will see the excitement they show when they are doing it. There's a lot of, and I do try this. Now, how many of us know these two men? This, I'm again taking some of the things from what I have learned. So these are two people, they are known as Rehan Meham and Harshit Shahid. They conduct cricket machas. They are nothing but they're talking about cricket in a very light, joking manner. And that is the content. It is them talking to each other about cricket. So I was teaching the Stone Age. Now imagine a history teacher has to teach Stone Age to Gen Alpha who are used to AI. How do I keep them occupied? So I took this Yuval Noah Harari's wheat domestication paradox, and I said, you will have to create a wheat domestication paradox matcha. You will have to present your point of view, a debate that did wheat domesticate humans or did humans domesticate wheat? So Yuval Noah Harari, he just turned the entire theory on its head that historians said that once human beings learned how to domesticate and grow wheat, they settled down. But he said no, once they learned, they actually got enslaved because then they could not move to one place to the other. The bones started showing degradation because they had to be occupied in back-breaking labor, poor posture, monotonous diet. So they are working on it and they're very excited. However, doing all that never gave up on the values. That remain the same. But the examples can be more recent. Now, let's say I'm teaching civics or democratic politics and I talk about people's movement. One of the very famous people's movement in our times was Anna Hazare, Jan Lokpal Bell. But that was 2014, 2013. 13 years have gone by. The children who are in grade 9 were in pre-primary that time. They have no clue who Anna Hazare is. Because in none of their reels, in Instagram or WhatsApp, they would have seen him. So it's better if we give them some of the new current examples. Now, another thing, like if we are teaching them that you have to be moral, ethical, you can give examples which are current. So Belly Gibson is an influencer and she was first endorsing cosmetics and makeup and shampoo. Then she moved into endorsing food. And food companies kept coming to her and pushing money towards her. So much so, she made up an entire fiction around her that I'm a cancer survivor and I gave up my chemo and I survived by having these whole foods, this and that. And she had so much of influence that many people actually let go of their chemo and started using until one patient died and her brother dug her history up and now she is languishing in the jails of Australia. So if your examples are current, relatable, you have an audience. Now, another thing that I have learned from another teacher, her name is Vinita Soni, Miss Vinita Soni, is while doing corrections, this is what was written in our notebooks, and this is what we write in our notebooks as well. How many of us still continue writing this? Can we do a quick poll? How many of us are still doing this?
So my poll results are: how many of us writing the following? Can do better is 14%, good is 12%, very good is 32%, and excellent is 41%.
Okay, so we are still writing the same things. What was written in our notebook, maybe our parents' notebook, we are still writing that. But what is good? What is very good? What is excellent? And obviously, each child can do better. But how? Where are the guidelines? So I have actually learned this. So while correcting, please mention what you are appreciating. Break that norm, that same thing. You can actually write what you are appreciating. Good presentation, detailed notes, neat and well labeled illustration, organized and well documented notes, running notes, whatever. Effort shows in the improvement in performance. And it doesn't take much time. And in the end, no lesson is permanent. Wisdom is a work in progress. We have to keep working on ourselves because learning, you are a lifelong learner. As long as you live, we have to keep learning. And I would really thank Shefali ma'am. She actually, Anvesha ma'am and Shefali ma'am, they conducted a workshop just last week. And in that, I learned the importance of collaboration and the importance of giving appreciation to the people who actually deserve it. And that is why I made it a point to name all the teachers from whom I have learned. So thank you for all the learning that I have got through the years. And I hope that you also got to learn something from me today. So is there anything that never gets boring? If it is, the answer is yes, continue doing that. For me, it is the joy of giving, meditation, and praying. Thank you. Punya?
Thank you, Praji, for such an eye-opening, strategic, and highly relevant session. I'm certain our teachers are living today with a fresh perspective and a clear framework on how to audit their baseline, breaking out of professional ruts, and truly bridge the gap for today's students. The chat can incredibly active through the session. Thank you again.
So
We
now
do
I'm
have
open
a
to
few minutes for
questions.
the questions that came up in the chat. So let's dive right into those. Can you give examples of these working in your classroom?
Uh, I like the language. Definitely, I have given them an excerpt from the book that the stone, like Harappa, I was teaching Harappa. There is an excerpt that says that in Harappa, there was there was no concentration of power. It was there was no king as such, and the power was held by many people at the same time. How can you prove it? So let's have a debate. Give me examples, like NEP says critical thinking. Challenge them that can you have such uniformity across the entire civilization where the bricks are uniform, the layout is uniform, where uniformity always comes with strong administration. So let there be a debate, and let that debate be like a matcha. So bring an element of humor, wherein you can say that Singapore is a fine country and everything is uniform and clean because they are being fined. So you can bring in humor there, but you have to get into that. You have to bring that humor. You have to present it in a matcha form, and yet keep it learning. So bring humor, create content on history, and present it to the class. And I've done that, and their presentation is on Monday, actually. They have the weekend to work on. Yes. Next question.
Ma'am, ma'am, we have some comments. Like many, many thanks for your fruitful session. It was an insightful session, very nice session, and we have so many good comments from the. And we have one more question. When trying to change methods of teaching or communicating new methods of teaching, how often do you face pushback or support from authorities to set the curriculum?
Thankfully, in my school, I have not faced any pushback. Uh, Collaborative work is actually promoted. Yes, I have to be mindful of the noise level, to be honest, but it is done and the class does get noisy. I will accept that as well. But at the end of the day, it's a fun session. And the moment I enter the class, there is that anticipation. Ma'am, are we going to do this today? Are we going to do that today? And it is fun and exciting. Yeah, I when I am teaching Harappa, I don't give the excerpts at all. I don't give what is written in the book at all. I just take the pictures and I keep saying, what do you deduce? What do you deduce? Write down your deduction. And in the end, I say, however, this is given in the book, and not that I can deny what you have said, but this is what is given in the book, and you might have to write that in the exam. So, yeah.
I hope ma'am answered your question, Rashi Chatterjee.
Sorry, what was the
Thank you for
question?
joining.
If
Okay, ma'am,
I
I'll just repeat.
misunderstood.
When trying to change methods of teaching or communicating new methods of teaching, how often do you face pushback or support from authorities to set the curriculum?
Finishing the curriculum is a challenge, and because from the beginning there are so many extracurriculars there are, but we cannot stop trying. So we have to keep pushing our limits, and there is no pushback from other teachers, or we are actually appreciated for trying new things. We are not, there is no pushback as such, I would say.
Thank you for joining today's session. We hope you found it genuinely helpful. As we mentioned at the beginning, the entire Syntax series has been thoughtfully restructured around themes aligned with Centa standards that is globally recognized and widely acknowledged. A structural change that has been in place since the first week of March. We want to ensure that every single hour you spend here with us directly feeds into your day to day classroom impact and your long term career growth. To give you a quick picture of how today's webinar connects to your professional journey, Prachi's session focused directly on three critical areas of teaching expertise. First, it targets understanding learner diversity, specifically helping us decode how the tech, cultural, and cognitive habits of Gen Z and Gen Alpha differ from previous generations. Second, it emphasizes self reflection and professional, giving us a honest framework to audit our own workspace habits and actively steer clear to reaching ruts. And finally, it focused on life skill integration, showing us how to build dynamic lesson plans that foster critical thinking and keep our students adaptable in an unpredictable world. Now, come to your record of participation. We recently updated our app a bit, so please be patient with us while we walk you through the quick steps to acquire your record of participation. If you have already registered for the session, please follow these steps. Step 1. Open the Center app on your device. Step 2. Navigate to the Progress section. Step 3. In the Progress section, open Upcoming and click on Today's webinar. Step 4. Click on Submit Feedback. Please note that this option will be available at 6 p.m. Step 5. Enter the 4-digit session code when prompted. Today's code is 8915. I repeat, 8915. You'll also see this code on the screen right now. Step 6. Complete the feedback form and you will be able to download your record of participation instantly. If you have not registered for this webinar and want to register now to download your record of participation, please follow these steps. Step 1. Open the Center app on your device. Step 2. Navigate to the Learn section. Step 3. In the Learn section, scroll down to see upcoming Syntax and go to today's webinar. Step 4. Click on Enroll Now. Once you have registered, click on Submit Feedback. Please note that this option will be available at 6 p.m. Step 5. Enter the 4-digit session code when prompted. Today's code is 8915. I repeat, 8915. Step 6. Complete the feedback form and you will be able to download your record of participation instantly. Before we close, a quick note. If you are an educator interested in facilitating a future Syntax session, we warmly invite you to visit centa.org about us to explore the complete framework of competencies and teaching standards we discussed. You can propose your own topic and key takeaways by dropping us an email at team@centa.org. And our team will be happy to help you align your presentation directly with our upcoming structured weekly themes. We truly look forward to one of these meaningful collaborations and shared learning experiences. Thank you all for your active participation in today's session. We truly appreciate your engagement. To register for more upcoming Center webinars, please visit the Center app. Have a wonderful day. We look forward to seeing you at the next session.